Now, John, as you were asking me about the national rankings, the Cardinals have dropped 5 spots to the 10th position, but they're still alive in the top 25 in the D3Football.com poll. Again, as I said, they're in the top, and going from the 9th spot down is Ohio Northern, Capital, Central's at number 7, University of Wisconsin La Crosse, Wheaton is at 5, St. John's, UW-Whitewater, the highest ranking team with a loss, so there is still hope for the Cardinals there. Mary Hardin-Baylor is at 2, and of course the undisputed welterweight champ, it feels like, of the Division III football of college football is Mount Union. They're still number 1. And it's also worth noting that Fisher is above the E8 standings leader. I said it was Alfred. They are above Alfred, who is currently ranked 20th. And those worried about Hartwick, well, don't worry about them. They could be creeping in the top 25. They received 3 votes of their own. So watch out for the Hawks. They could easily be rising. And John, I know this game really comes as a shock. How do you think the Cardinals are going to react to this upcoming weekend's game against Brockport?
It's hard to say. I've had a chance to talk to some of the players, even the coaches. I walked by Coach Fagiano, the defensive coordinator, the other day, and I asked him how he was doing, and he said he's getting better. So I think it's kind of coming to terms with the fact that this was an unexpected loss, but they've got to get past it at the same time because there's the football season is not a sprint; it's a marathon. So there's still a long way to go.
And then speaking of a marathon, you were actually at the game last year against Brockport. I mean, if I remember that game, the Cardinals had a pretty good beginning, but watch out for Brockport. They were coming back at the end. Do you think Brockport could probably bring some more of those kind of fireworks last year and maybe even pull another Hartwick and surprise the Cardinals again?
Another thing is it's a rivalry game, so standings, statistics, rankings, they all goes out the window because it comes down to who's going to play better. And last year, Brockport gave Fisher a big scare. They had a big, strong quarterback, pretty mobile too, in Zach Luke, and they had some receivers, some of which have graduated. That's the good news for Fisher, but Brockport still has more guys coming back that can make plays. So in a rivalry game, anything can happen. Luckily for Fisher, this year it's at home, and it's going to be a homecoming game too. So I like Fisher's chances. Brockport has not played to the level they played against Fisher last year thus far this season, but still it's going to be a test.
All right, and do you think probably the coaching staff, as you're talking about, some of the coaches are kind of getting over the shock of being upset. Do you think they're probably going to be A-okay coming into Thursday, Friday night trying to get this team prepared for the last moments?
It's hard to say. I think that, Coach Vosberg really took this loss to heart because looking at the end of the game, there's a lot of questions and a lot of concerns about how the end of the game was managed by the coaching staff. The players, they did what they could. They got the ball all the way down the field in the waning moments, but it was a coaching decision that very well might have lost them the game. Obviously, the players' execution of that last trick play wasn't up to snuff and wasn't good enough from the score, but at the same time, you kick that 20-yard chip shot, you're going into overtime, and usually in overtime the better team wins, and I really think Fisher was the better team. So it's a toss-up. If they get it, Vosberg's a hero, but unfortunately they didn't, so you've got the opposite.
Then again, it could also be worth noting, though, that Vosberg might have decided to go for it, seeing that he's been almost using 2 field goal kickers, almost like as if he's unsure which kicker he has the most confidence in, though.
That's true. I don't have a problem with the call, honestly. Not the call to go for it, but the call to bring in. Tommy Hamill is a very talented player, but he hasn't seen action all year long. For him to bring him in at this juncture of this important game, an Empire 8 conference game in which they're about to get their first loss of the season, that's not fair to any player. And for them to run a trick play, they've been running the ball down Hartwick's throat all night long. And Hartwick has a small defensive front, so it would have been very easy for them to do that again. You know what I mean? So go with the guys who got you there. Hansen and Reel were running so well all game long.
Particularly Hansen, since he is more of the power back that we've seen from Robinson in recent years. And Barry, the fact that he actually pulled Hamill, again, Ike has usually been the quarterback filling in for Kramer in the later parts of the game if Fisher is up ahead. But the fact that Kramer himself has proved within the past year that he can run with the football.
He had a 30-something yard rushing touchdown against Ithaca only a couple weeks back. So, it's obviously a questionable call, and obviously people have a lot of problems with it. I don't have a problem with having confidence in your offense, but at the same time, have confidence in the offense that got you there. They kind of maybe got a little shaken up with the fact that they were losing to Hartwick. When's the last time Fisher's lost to Hartwick? So
probably not for a while there, John.
For that reason, they kind of strayed away from their game plan a little, and they had to make a tough decision, and unfortunately, it didn't pan out for them.
Well, hopefully for the Cardinals, it will pan out, and Vosburg will be able to overcome the loss, the shocking loss this past week in the Hartwick against Brockport. It's going to be at Griney Stadium again, as John mentioned, 4 p.m. It's going to be quite a great homecoming game between two rivals, and again, this is going to be a pretty good game.
It'll be, a good deal amount of Brockport fans. Not a far drive, and certainly to see two teams of this caliber play up against each other, and their area rivals. So it's gonna bring a big crowd about. So it should be a good time.